Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Higgs. As always, it's Monday, and I'm joined with Doug Upstone and Chip Chirimbes. We're going to cover some college football. It's early. We are doing college football today because there are games on Saturday. We're going to, be a little different kind of week this week with the bowls coming up and short NBA slates and stuff like that. So, again, hit the like button here. Notification bell on the YouTube channel so you know when we post our free pick videos. Monday through Sunday, Chip has Paul Bovey, Scott Pritchard, and the legend Jim Feist doing NFL, and Paul Bovey too as well. Doug is with me, Matt Fargo, Brian Biller. We do this during the week. Live show. Now tonight's Monday. We got a Monday Night Live. We, meaning me, unless anybody wants to pop on. But I do a little player props on Monday night, 7 o'clock. You can check that out. Again, notification bell on for that. And a Friday Live with Victor King and Mark Lawrence. So after you get done hitting the like button, subscribing, notification rolls on, maybe leaving a comment that we talk too much about nonsense, head over to our sponsor, gamblersWORLD.net, all right, because these are free pick videos. And last week we went 1-2 on our NBA Monday. I'm going to tell you how we do it, win or lose, folks, right? But these are the free picks. GamblersWORLD.net is where you get all of our premium action, all right? That's where I'm going to say we win a little more because we pull more games out on the premium side of things. But we have a 3, 7, 30-day package, all guaranteed. We show you a profit over that time, or we credit you back the whatever package length you are on. We have our end-of-season NFL package up, $199, take you all the way through the end of the NFL season. Go get that. We have a leaderboard with NFL leaders. So find a capper you like who's doing well in the NFL and jump on board. You missed out the college football bonanza. That's all right because we still got $69.99 day passes for days. I shouldn't say a day like this when there's one NBA, one NFL, and 5 college basketball games. But down the road when there's more games going, it's a great time to get a day pass, like on a Saturday of college hoops and a Sunday of NFL and college hoops. And pretty soon, a Wednesday of 6 bowl games that we're going to be talking about. But hope everybody had a nice weekend. Doug, speaking of weekends, how were your picks this weekend? How'd you do? What do you got in store for coming up, whatever's on tap?
Yeah, well, you mentioned college basketball or college football. I didn't do as well as I'd hoped for that. I went 1-3 on Saturday. Particularly disheartened when the second string Louisiana quarterback, who'd been playing really well, he gets hurt. That was the end of that game. Okay?
All over.
Nothing I could do on that. Can't forecast that. But NFL yesterday went 2-1. Happy with that. And then got my best bet winner on the Miami Dolphins at 5.5. And as I not only won the game in overtime, okay, which was for me fun enough, I literally jumped off the couch. I landed and almost really turned my ankle, but just sort of did, okay? And my wife's yelling at me, and I'm just saying, be quiet, be quiet. I won a game in overtime. Shut up, okay? So 2-1 there. NHL continues to do very well, 32-15. I know Chip's been just killing it in the NBA. I'm not at that level yet, but I'm on a nice little 14-9 run. So that is good stuff. Had a nice winning day in college basketball, 3-1 on Saturday. So I thought things are looking good. And tonight, actually, I have a play in that Dallas and Cincinnati game, and it's in a strong system, an 86.6% system. So check it out at gamblersworld.net.
I was with you on that ULL loser. So I know the pain there. And as much as you're cheering on a Dolphin win, I put my stuff out earlier. I had a bad number at 6.5 with Miami. I ended up taking a loss yesterday, a 500 day. My NFL 66-69 on the year, folks. I mean, people don't tell you when they lose. I'm having a ho-hum season of NFL football. What am I going to do? Chip, how was your weekend, Mr. NBA Chips?
Well, we won in the NBA. We won both megabucks in football, and we went undefeated in college basketball. Now 18-3 of our last 21 releases. And by the way, guys, that number fluctuated on Miami because I actually took 6.5 with the Jets. So, Doug, you and I both are on the right side of the game. What can I say? And there were a lot of pushes out there at 6 as well. But if I'd laid it, I would have been happy to lay 5.5. Because the Jets are just going to do what they do. It's amazing each and every week. But basketball's been rolling right along, Sean. It sort of bailed me out when I had the bad Saturdays, and Sundays come right along. The NBA and the college basketball right now are just really running on all pistons, and all cylinders are just go.
You mentioned your NBA. You're number one on the site in the money, 27-12, 69% with your college hoops, I should say. Your college hoops run. I'm number 3, 112-87, 56%. So as much as my NFL,
I
200 games,
over 200 games. I mean, it's December the 9th already, for God's sakes.
We had the holiday in there, Doug. You got to remember the schedule is sparse.
And college footies, Brian Biller's our number one college football capper. He's 62-49 at 56%, right? Good numbers. I mean, that's a lot of games. I am 91-78 at 55%. I'm not even in the top 3. Closing in on 100 wins, though. I'm going to get there by the Bulls. That's my goal.
Well, post 300 games.
So that's fine. We're winning now. We're winning.
No, you are.
I bring this up for people to see, like, everybody does things different, right? I mean, we talk about NBA. I am 4-4 in NBA games, I think, on the site. 3-4. I'm not a big NBA guy. Obviously, college hoops is for me, but we all do things different, folks. That's why I say go gamblersWORLD. You see our records. You go back, see games. If you like a certain sport, some guys are into things more than others. It's easy as that. Before we get into Army, Navy, and South Alabama, Western Michigan, we got our bowl. They're all set up. We got the playoffs set. Alabama fans, SEC fans are upset. We've talked about this a few times. It's going to go to 16 games or 16 teams in 2 weeks or 2 weeks, 2 years. If they're going to complain about, they tried this 2 weeks ago with Indiana, they should be out of the playoffs. If they lose badly to Ohio State, they shouldn't be in. You can play who you play. They have unbalanced schedules. If Indiana was called Michigan or Nebraska, there'd be no problem. They'd get in the playoffs. I understand the bye weeks, but that is the committee paints themselves into these corners and then ties themselves up with knots. You have to be in a conference championship. We're not going to move a team who's playing this week. No one can do this. I think it's fair that SMU got in. They beat who they beat. They were in a championship game. Why should they move down because they play? Why have championship games?
Right. I agree. Yeah. I mean, they want the revenue from the championship games, so you can't have it every way. You
can't penalize a team for playing in a championship game.
Right. It makes no sense. If you get there, you should be rewarded for getting there. And I think that's part of the whole thing. And we say, talking about Indiana schedule or SMU schedule or whatever, any of that nonsense, is that, you know what? They all chose to go to 16-team conferences. They chose it. Nobody made them. They chose to do it. And so because they did, then this is what you're going to get. Some years you're going to get a very difficult schedule, which Georgia did this year. And other years you're going to get a really easy schedule. And let's face it, if you look back at the history of college football, typically, not every time, but typically the team that wins the national championship, has faced an easier than normal schedule. Okay, whether they had more home games, whatever the case may be, that's just typically how it works because you only have so many games. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but I mean, I don't think this is a big deal, and everybody's losing their mind for reasons I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Georgia's schedule, a tough one, and they lost a game or two. Maybe if it wasn't an expanded playoff, maybe they would have won a game and only had one loss. Maybe they would have had one loss instead of two. Folks, the unbound schedule, Texas had a nice, easier cakewalk than Alabama. How about we take Texas out? Yeah. I mean, it's just they can't say one and then just forget about other stuff. It's just it's kind of wacky there. That's why I thought it would be 6 teams. That's it. Then there's no problem because who we putting in? The runner-up in the conference? You couldn't win your championship. You shouldn't be in a playoff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, I have a question for both of you guys, just to get your opinion. I actually wrote an article about bowl games, how to bet bowl games at another site and such. And one of the things that I now believe is, and I know, Sean, both of you, I think, do a better job of getting down early on games. Okay, more so than what I do, and I don't particularly go real early for any number of different reasons. But I'm of the opinion now, and it's because of the transfer portal, I don't see any real advantage to betting games early. Now, it can work in your advantage, but it can also work severely to your disadvantage. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I always like to wait.
Okay.
I'm in the past, I was an early guy. I want to. It's like when I do my NFL. I think I could not see the future, but I'm just planning out how things would happen. So I'd always like to move early. Now, no way. I can't. I can't get down. Normally, I'd have 10 bets already. The only game I'd think about betting on right now early is actually Michigan against said Alabama, because I got a quarterback in Alabama who's going pro. I don't think he owes his coach. It's one thing if Saban's in there, you're coaching your players, maybe you stay. This is a sub-tier bowl for them. What,
Sean, do you think that Alabama's quarterback's going to leave this year?
Yeah, I think he could go.
I don't think so.
You think he's going to play in this bowl game? How about that? Is he going to play in this bowl game?
Yeah.
Why would he play in them? Why?
Because he's going to play next year, too. I mean, if you're going to have a career, have it. Go out and play these games. I don't know. I don't get it. Go play.
Well, blame Christian McCaffrey for sitting out 10 years ago.
And you know what? He probably should have sat out because he's so brittle. This guy's been hurt every game he's ever played.
I don't know why he sat out.
And did anybody remember who the second player was to opt out? Same year, by the way, as Christian McCaffrey. And it's somebody you know, for sure. He's no longer in the NFL, though. I'll count to 5. Okay, time's up. Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette, the running. That's right.
Yeah, I happened to come across that the other day, and because I knew writing that article, and I saw that I thought it was McCaffrey when I was writing about with that, and then it also listed that Leonard Fournette was in there. It's like, yeah, that's it.
Well, Fournette just didn't want to play. McCaffrey was trying to protect his future. There's a difference.
Yeah,
I think a team like Alabama, they have NFL guys on. Why are they playing? There's no reason for them to play. This is like below them. They were, it's a rematch game.
Don't you want to play? Don't you want to play every game you can play in? I get it. I want to play. I want to play. I don't want to sit on the bench for the varsity. I want to start for the JVs. I want to play a game.
Chip,
I want to be out there.
These quarterbacks are hitting. I mean, James Madison line went from 3 to 7 because the other team's quarterback walked out the door. So I'm going to transfer portal.
Well, that's the problem we have to deal with.
So these guys don't even want to play on a mid-major in a bowl game and put up a number.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the thing. So I look at Michigan as a team that's getting 11-something points. Their guys haven't played, and they didn't play, and they beat Ohio State. So these guys are going to be pumped up because it's a bad year, but they get another chance at a win. They got a new head coach. There's some oomph there. The Alabama guys to me are like, we don't know this coach nothing. He's not our guy. He just came in here. We had a crap year. We're pissed off. Why the heck am I going to go out here and hurt myself for nothing? Well, what am I getting? What's my grab bag here? What am I going to get? A Mickey T-shirt? I mean, what are we playing? Like, there's no. What's the incentive for them to play? Because they're not a good team. Let's be honest.
Don't you want to play? Because you want to play, Sean. Don't you want to play? Isn't that why you put on the uniform in the first place? And you went through all those practices and you went through all that training and you got yourself, you were sweating, you got killed, and now you're not going to play? I don't get it. I really don't.
I don't get it, but these guys, you see them. The Florida team last year had 35 guys walk out the door.
I know. It's terrible. We're in jeopardy right here with these bowl games. They're not as they used to be. I remember there was a East-West Shrine game, where they had that was a big game at one time. And I remember John Brody played the entire game, every snap, and they had all pros. These guys were going to the pros, and they wanted to show their wares. Nowadays, they're so worried about pulling a hamstring or something along those lines, and they don't play. Well, it's sort of, to me, it defeats the purpose of why you went out for a team in the first place.
Well, because among the reasons, now it's about money.
Yeah, of course.
That's always the thing. So now that's what it's about. And let's face it. I mean, for better or for worse, okay, now this has nothing to do with what we do because it doesn't make any difference. But, all these other games, they're exhibition games. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what they are. And so if that's the case, if I'm not saying I agree with it, but if you're looking at your future, why would you want to do that? When
why start the season? Why after the second, third game? Why don't they beg out then? I mean, we've seen you scored 4 touchdowns the first game.
I don't think that's that far down the road. For example, I'm serious. I mean, if you look at a team schedule, I don't care what team you're looking at. Let's just but just say a SEC top tier team. Hate to pick on the SEC here, but SEC top tier team, and you're like one of the people that's supposed to win it, and you start off 4-3, 5-3. You can't win the conference. There's nothing else to be done other than just playing. And you're a junior, or you're a fourth year junior. What's your incentive to keep playing? Other than you like your teammates.
I don't know.
That's about it.
Because you like to play and you love the game. It doesn't happen anymore, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think the love of the game is a big deal anymore.
These guys,
that's not. It's a love of the money.
World. It's a different world. It's not. Forget about like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. This isn't even 90s, early 2000 football anymore.
No.
It's a whole different realm. It's everybody. It's me. Come check out my TikTok reel here in the locker room, having a pregame snack. And here's another team. So I don't think Alabama's going to show up. I think Michigan's going to show up. I think Florida's going to show up big. I think Florida's going to – they're like a 10, 11 point – that line went from like a 9 to an 11, 11.5. I think they're going to roll. That's a team where the players, bad year, but they got better as the year went on. I think this is a team that's going to come out and be like, oh, no, we're back, baby. Here we go. Like, that's a team I want to look at right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know who they're playing.
You got to look at. I mean, we're talking about just a couple teams here, but for this time of year, these bigger teams, forget about the small, your Max, your Sunbelts, and Mountain West, like smaller clubs or like a Boston College kind of team, like lower. You're talking about a big name program. You got to see if they're going to want to show up here. Yes. I mean,
and that's always been
some aren't. Some are not going to want to show up when they're in some low. Are the Miami Hurricanes showing up for the Pop-Tarts Bowl? Is Cam Ward suiting up for the Pop-Tarts Bowl?
I don't think so.
Who are they playing?
I don't remember either. I looked at them all, but I don't.
Yeah, I looked. I didn't write them all down. I mean, I had the matchups up, but I was just getting. I just had to bring up. I didn't realize. I didn't realize. Of course it is, because I'm going to go on a little tangent about these freaking bowls like Chip is. We're going to go old school on these guys play the game. Speaking of playing the game, no, we're not talking Army Navy yet. We're talking the Yankees and Mets playing the game of. Well, I'm going to one up you, Soto. Chip, we're Yankee guys. $800 million, $805 million if he doesn't opt out, which he probably won't. Unbelievable.
A lot of money.
And again, I like Soto. Let him walk out. Pay 5 other guys. Fill in all your holes. You don't have a first baseman.
You can get 2 stars. You know what you do? You said it, Sean. Move that center fielder, the 6'9" guy, put him at first base, and get yourselves 2 outfielders at the price of Soto, and you might be in contention. Plus
2, you get more than 2. I mean, again, we talked a little bit before we came on air. If this was old school Yankees like 2008, they'd have Soto, they'd have Burns, they'd have Fried, they'd have Alonso, they'd have Adams. That's it. They would have went out and it would have been full blown. This is not that team anymore.
Yeah,
this is not that team. Spread it out. I'm not caring if it gets spread out, but who they're going to get, I have no idea. But
who's out there?
What year do you see? Because he signed. First off, what's the first buyout, by the way, or the first opt out?
At 30. It's 5 at 30 or 31. You could have a
for 5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is just, I mean, you guys are more fans of those teams and what. Considering Albert Pujols, and I guess that's probably the best example. What year do you see the first year of decline for Soto in terms of age?
Oh, age?
I'm going to say like 33.
What about attitude?
Well, yeah. I mean, however you want to describe decline. I mean, it's just okay. So 33, because that leaves half of his contract.
I think it might start this year.
I don't know about that.
He's got his money. He doesn't have. Where's his incentive? Talking about guys that don't play because they want to get the money. Now here's a guy that has the money. Why should he play?
Yeah, I mean, how often we don't really see that too much in baseball? Where guys just pack it up. At 26, I'm going to pack it in.
He can retire right now. $800 million. Huh.
Oh, man, Met fans are like, can he do that? Met fans are on Google right now. Like, is this guaranteed? How can he quit?
Where's his incentive? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, man. It's one thing.
Well,
guy gets
he
bad
would have
down
got
the road.
900 million if he was able to reach second base from right field. But just thought I'd let you know that.
The guy can hit like nobody. I mean,
288. He's the best 288 hitter I've ever seen.
288. He's not exactly. He's hitting 288 hitting 40 homers. He's not even good yet. He's 26 years old, Chip.
I know, and in 10 years you got a chance to be 36. But listen, he's a great. There's no question he's a really great player. I think he's a bit overrated. I think his defense, particularly his arm, and like I said, he's the best 280 hitter in baseball.
He's a 288 hitter, which in today's baseball might as well be 310.
Excuse me for exaggerating a little bit, but I'm trying to make a point that he's not Sam Musial hitting 356.
Yeah,
but he's the equivalent of Sam Musial because the average batting average now is like 241.
He averaged 241.
Right. I mean, what is they think a guy who hits 230 with 34 home runs is awesome. This guy hits 288 and 38 home runs. He walks 150 times.
I got to get my number 2 out and erase all those stats that I read about when I was a kid. Looking at them all because right now they mean
velocity,
nothing. Right?
Exit velocity is very important. What's his exit? His exo and arch. And launch
nobody hits the ball harder than Stanton. He just doesn't hit it hard enough. When you talk about exit velocity, he hits the ball, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, tomorrow's show will be old bad contracts. And actually, how about again, we're 20 minutes. We begin the game yet. How about they want to complain about this contract? I think the worst contract is Trout's contract. This guy's played more than 80 games in the last 3 years.
Yep. Well, now Christian McCaffrey is the new Mike Trout for NFL. That's all there's to it there.
The Niners. Well, we can keep going on. We can do it, Pick.
One last thing, you guys probably heard about this. I thought it would have been wouldn't have been funny for that guy. So the guy in Kentucky that bet $3.1 million on the Eagles to win on the money line against the at Circa, and if Leggett could have held on to that ball,
if he held on to that ball, Paulie would have been out of the Survivor because he had Philly.
Did he? Oh man, I had Carolina yesterday in the points. I'm like, what? That's a lot of points. Carolina's.
No, this is on the
Carolina next week too against Dallas. They've found a little new life. Good for them.
Yeah, Bryce Young actually looks like a quarterback.
We had all right. I think we read off Bryce Young. We're like, man, this guy's terrible. They fired the coordinator. We're like, this guy's done. Like terrible. He looks pretty feisty last.
Knows what he's doing now. Yep, just take some time.
All right, folks, 22 minutes. We'll get into some football now, all right? Before we head to get to that, like button, notification bell, subscribe. Free picks here. Wonderful. We want you part of the show. Live show tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Gamblers World for our premium plays coming up. Now, Army, Navy. Army 11-1 on the year. They'll be heading to the Independence Bowl versus Marshall pretty soon, but, they play this commander-in-chief game here for the Cup against Navy. Navy start out pretty good, 8-3 though. They face Oklahoma in the Armed Forces Bowl coming up. So let's be honest, this is their season, right? This is what they play for, these two guys. I think the obvious thing here people want to look at is probably the under. Army 7, total of 40. It's been an under show, right? It's always under in these academy games. 9 years ago, this total was like 52. It went to 27 or 28 last year. Come on, overreaction. It's 40. I'd say an over here, but Chip, as an Army guy, I send this to you as a veteran here. Thank you for your service. What do you got here for Army Navy?
I've been to World Series, I've been to Super Bowls and NBA championships, NCAA championships. This Army Navy matchup is on my bucket list. I've never been there. It's an incredible display of pageantry, and of course, you get these two forces going head to head. I find it pretty emotional. I really do. Now, Army and Navy both incurred their first loss to the same team, and that was Notre Dame. And they both came out almost the same. Army lost 49-14. Navy lost 51-14. So you're not going to catch any glamour or edge out of that. Army is leading the nation in rushing as they're always up there, 314 yards a game. But they're only averaging 59 yards passing. And the Navy isn't all that much better. I mean, they have Air Force flyers off of aircraft carriers, but they're only averaging 88 yards passing. I think that the points here are big in this game. I am surprised to see Army such a strong favorite because of the difference in the schedules. Navy plays a much tougher schedule, and Army, of course, is one of the lower echelons as far as they've won their last 2. They've won 6 of the last 8 after going like 10, 12 years without winning any games, but they've only covered 3 of the last 10 meetings. I'm going to go with the Navy and take the points.
Navy and the 7, or what do we got here on the 6 in the show? What's the official?
6, I thought. No,
down to a 6. All right.
Is it? I take him anyway. I'll leave him to win.
Navy, he's even saying outright win for Navy.
I hate to say that to all my former grunts, but that's what it is.
Chip, what do you got here?
I'm going to take Navy.
No, I'm sorry, Chip. I meant Doug. I apologize. I'm looking down at your hat because I was saying you got the Armed Forces hat on today as opposed to a Super Bowl hat. That's why
I do.
Well, you mentioned the total, and I think that run, because it ended up being 16 in a row on unders, 16 in a row.
Wow.
And so and it was funny because, if you kind of followed it every year at the end, it's like the odds makers, it used to be odds makers would, instead of going to what they thought maybe the number could be, because they didn't want to go so dramatic that they could get maybe too much money on one side or the other. Well, after 16 in a row, they said, screw it. Okay. So the total, let's see. So this is 24. So the 2021, the total was 32. It was the same number in 23. I'm sorry, 20 and 21. Okay, let's start over. 21 and 22, 32 for the total. Last year, 28, as Sean mentioned, 28. And that was a push. But there's not been an under in this. It's been 3 years. So I'm looking at these two teams. Navy, Army is one of the best defensive teams in the country based on points allowed at 15. Navy's not bad at 22, but both teams score over 30 points per game. And the other thing that's different to me, besides the fact of going from 28 to 40 or 40 and a half on the opening line, both of these offenses, they run the option, and to the naked eye, it looks the same as it has for the last 25 years. But both teams do a lot of different things in the run option that they had not done before. They've gotten far more creative offensively, and I think they probably, for this game, purposely saved a few tricks that they have, and I think those are going to turn into points. So I'm going to go over the 40 in this one.
I like it. I'm over, but I'm an Army guy. I like Army here, right? These guys, Chip, they won the AAC. They came into Navy's conference and won it. They beat Tulane 35-14, and Navy got romped by Tulane. I think this Army team's pretty good. I was hoping if they were undefeated, maybe there'd be a shot of them making the playoffs, but that was all for now when Notre Dame is supposed to be Catholics and they go beat up our service members. Real nice of them. Real nice of those guys, churchgoers they are. Let's say, you want to protect the country? Yeah, okay, we'll take you out back and club you to death. Good job, Notre Dame. Real nice of you. Official show pick, though, for Chip here, Navy plus the 6. Next up, a salute to veterans game. Here we go. South Alabama, Western Michigan, 9.5 and a 59.5. Sunbelt and the MAC, 9 o'clock. Montgomery, Alabama, a quasi-home game for the Jaguars here. Major Applewhite, old Texas kind of quarterback here, took over this club. 6-6. Both of these guys 6-6 in their respective overall seasons. 5-3 in conference. What are we doing here? We got Broncos, Jaguars. If there were animals fighting, I would probably lean to the Jaguar. But I don't know. It's a lot of points. 10? Like the 10 here?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I have to agree. And but I think part of it is how both teams ended their season. Now, Western Michigan during in October primarily, they played a softer part of the MAC schedule and they went 4-0. They got beefed up on them in the second half or the last half of the conference season. They went 1-3. South Alabama started 2-4, but picked it up and came in 4-2. As you mentioned, it's a 2.5 hour trip from Mobile up to Montgomery, Alabama. So the one thing that is typically true, doesn't always work out by any stretch, but the team that has to travel the shorter distance typically ends up covering more bowl games than not in this one. But like I said, I'm looking at this one. You got two teams that their average score of their game for the season is just over 60 points. So that makes the 59.5. Seems to make a lot of sense. In this one, though, I'm looking at the total here, and if these two teams, they didn't have any common opponents this year, but they did last year. And all four of the games between the two teams, all four went over. And Western Michigan is 5-0 over in recent games against defenses that give up 250 or more passing yards. My power numbers, rating numbers come in at either 61 or 62.5. So I'm going over on another one.
Lucas.
For the Veterans Bowl.
Over 59.5, South Alabama, Western Michigan, not Alabama, Michigan, South Alabama and Western Michigan, directional school here for Doug Upstone, formerly the Camellia Bowl. They changed names here.
And it's the first of 3 bowl games between these conferences, by the way.
Yeah, they get all those little kind of weird little bowls, but they're always fun ones though. And you like the over. Lots of time to get some high scoring Max Sunbelt games here. That's why it's called the Fun Belt, folks. That's where it's got its name from. Fun Belt. Chip, thoughts on this one?
And not many of them really. I really don't like these type of games between clubs that I really can't get a feel on. I don't feel that the public has that much information on or enamored with the type of clubs. But I did some research on it, of course, and South Alabama seems to have the edge against this team, both on offense and on defense. Overall, I think the number's kind of high, and you hate laying this kind of number in a bowl game, but I think that South Alabama's the side.
South Alabama 10. I'm looking now because this was 9.5. I see 10s and even 10.5s out there. But official show pick is the over 59.5 from Doug. Navy +6. So we got the two games. I like Army and the over in that game. I was looking at Western Michigan here. I'm like, you know what? New coach. They're going to, you get extra practices, kind of helps these smaller schools. But watching this line start moving a little bit here, I'm going to go with Chip here. Kind of agree with South Alabama. I think quasi home game, a little more of established program with their coach and everybody else in there. And the line move here already up a point and a half. I think it helps out your total there, Doug, too. I think they're going to probably put up a close to a 40 spot themselves.
Yeah, well, if South Alabama covers, they're going to score. I mean, that's how it's going to be. The other thing, too, that comes into play here. Now, last year was the rare year that hasn't happened, but typically a Sun Belt West MAC game, Sun Belt is probably going to be just right off the top favored by 2 points. Okay, just in the difference of conferences, especially when you get below the teams that the top teams that won their conferences. So that's pretty normal. Last year, the MAC had a rare year in bowl games where they actually defeated or won and covered against the Sun Belt. But typically, that's not the case. I believe in the previous 8 years, I want to say 6 of them, the Sun Belt won. And and the reason that's the case, they get better athletes because they're coming out of the South. Simple as that.
There you go. Some Sunbelt MAC knowledge from Mr. Upstone. And he does his little lines report here on gamblersworld.net. So check out those articles. Gamblersworld.net is for all of our premium stuff. We gave you a couple free picks, the premium action, NBA, college hoops, NFL, college football, bowl games, NBA in-season championship is what I like to call it. It'll all be at gamblersworld.net for all the premios. Go get them. $69.99 day passes, 3 730-day guaranteed packages. Our regular picks at gamblersworld.net. Free pick recap here. Navy +6. Navy +6 from Chip. Over 59.5. South Alabama, Western Michigan. And I'm on the Army and the South Alabama as well here. I was leading Western Michigan. I said, no more. The Alabama says, let's go. Jaguars, Black Knights for me. But, gentlemen, any last words? You got anything going on tonight you want to upsell for the Monday night game? Or perhaps the lone NBA, lone wolf of the night?
Well, I'm passing in both basketball.
I got the Monday night game. I'm good to go, and it's just $25 at gamblersworld.net. And like I said, I got a strong system, 86.6%. That's 26-4 on this one. So ready to deliver a victory on that one tonight.
There you go. Go get Doug's NFL tonight at gamblersworld.net. 7 p.m. live. I will be doing some player props if you want to check those out. All you got to do is just come in and listen, because I know you can't hit the like button. I mean, I don't.
I might have time to. I might have time tonight to Sean, because I don't have quite as much to do tonight, so I might just pop in because I have a prop for you as well.
There you go. I'll be there.
See if we agree.
Doug will be popping in with a prop. Hopefully you'll be there as well. For Chip, Doug, and myself, have a good, happy Monday. Matt Fargo, Chip, and me tomorrow. Hope to see you there. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.